If you've been sitting for what feels like a long period of time, whether driving or working, for whatever reason, you may feel like you're rounding your back and kind of hunching in. This is the yoga class for you. We're going to be doing some very simple, easy, all-level back bends to help open you up, strengthen your back, and brighten up your day. I'm Sarah Barguirdjian, and this is my yoga channel where I offer all sorts of classes at all levels. Please do feel free to support this channel. There's lots of information in the class description below and where you can join me on Patreon. Let's begin. I want you to start on hands and knees. We're not going to start with back bends yet. So I want you here to prepare. Make sure that your fingers are evenly separated and that your arms are strong and you're pushing your hands down into the floor. We're going to start with a little twist. Pick up your right hand and with the palm facing up, slide it underneath your left hand as you bring the right side of your head to the floor. You want to get a little bit more length into the back here and a little bit of abdominal strength. So turn your belly and chest a little bit more up towards the ceiling and press your knees gently towards each other. Rest your head, let your neck relax. And come to the other side. So push your left hand down, bring your right hand to the floor, turn your left palm up, slide it under. Whatever's on the floor, push it down with some firmness. Press your knees towards each other and see if that will help you to turn your belly and chest a little bit more up towards the ceiling in this twist. Then as you inhale, come up, push your right hand down. And come into puppy dog pose. Now, you might want to reach around for a block here for your head to rest on. If you don't have one, don't worry. Walk your hands forward, bring your little fingers off the edges of the mat. And if you do have a block and your head doesn't come to the floor, put your block here under your forehead. And if your head doesn't touch the floor, that's also fine. We're not going to be here for very long. Squeeze your arms straight. Push your hands down. Press your tailbone down so your lower abdominal muscles really tone. And just as you did in the previous pose, slightly press your knees towards each other. Now raise your head, come all the way up. Walk your hands back, so you're coming back into this tabletop position, hands and knees. And tuck your toes under. Push your feet back a little bit more so you tuck your toes under even more. And pick your knees up off the floor just a touch. So starting to bring a little bit more strength into the arms and shoulders here, which you probably will feel that you really want, having been sitting down for quite a while. Now from here, start to move into more of a downward facing dog shape. So move your chest towards your thighs, keep your knees bent, push your hands forward, a little bit like when you were in puppy dog, and then begin to straighten your legs. Now this is a very short downward facing dog. You can stay with this and push your heels down towards the floor, or move your head, look forwards, and perhaps walk your hands a little bit more forwards so that you're coming into your normal length of downward facing dog. So you can do your normal dog or a short dog. It's up to you, how you feel you want to begin. Now, if you're doing a short dog, do walk your hands forward and come forward into plank so that your wrists are underneath your shoulders. Push your hands into the floor. Now bring your knees down. We're not going to do Chaturanga Dandasana. I want you to just come all the way down to the floor. Try and land everything at once. Now press your toenails into the floor. Push your feet down. Point your toes like a ballet dancer. And slowly lift up your throat, your chest, and your shoulders away from the floor. So this is our first really good back bend here. I love Cobra pose, Bhujangasana. Press your legs towards each other. And see if you can squeeze your shoulder blades a little bit more towards each other on your back and gently press them down towards your bottom. Then from here, come halfway down and lengthen your arms long down the mat or even off the mat like mine are. Look down, squeeze your legs, pick up just your right leg, keep the toes pointed and pick up your left arm. You might find that you can slide your right hand a little bit closer in towards you. You might find that no, that's not going to happen today, and that's fine. Move your right leg a little closer to your left leg, and then bring everything down. Let's do the other side. Pick up your left leg, toes pointed at the moment. Pick up your right hand, and again, possibly slide up, or just keep your left hand where it is. 3. Move your left leg a bit closer to the right. 2, 1. Bring everything down. Bring your hands by the sides of your ribs. Come up to hands and knees. Go back to downward facing dog. And walk your hands all the way back towards your feet. Bend your knees, bring your hands onto your hips, and come up to standing. Now I want you to find a piece of wall. It doesn't matter if you've got a chest of drawers or something here, as long as you're able to have your feet about 1/2 meter away from the wall and place your hand onto the wall. Okay, we're going to do wall clock, but just at one time. So here you kind of feel like your hand is at 3 o'clock, your right hand on the wall. Bring your feet together and stand tall, like you're in mountain pose. Push the heel of your hand into the wall. Stay like this, or to take things further, turn your toes more into the center of the room, away from the wall. And then move your pelvis and your hips in towards the center of the room, and then your chest. Take things slowly. Relax both of your shoulders. Keep your left hand by your side. Possibly even turn your head a little bit towards your left shoulder here. And really push your hand into the wall. Now turn back to face the wall, turn your feet, and change sides. So bring your left hand to the wall, about shoulder height, with your fingertips pointing straight back. If you're standing far away from the wall, you have to lean in too much. Try and keep your arms straight and be just close enough that you're really in mountain pose, nice and straight and tall. And then begin the development, or the possible development of the pose. Turn your toes into the center of the room. Turn your legs, your hips, your lower belly, your upper belly, your chest, your shoulders, and then your head. Squeeze your legs, stand tall, and keep pushing the heel of that left hand into the wall. This is a really nice counter pose to sitting for a long time, right? We quite often have our shoulders hunched over. This way you can really open up the chest. Can you feel it in your arm here? Turn back towards the wall. Now we're going to stay using the wall. Bring your hands up really high. And look at your hands and have them like you do when you're in downward facing dog, with as straight arms as you can. Separate your feet. Move back a little bit here, so again you're about 1/2 meter, about 1/2 yard away from the wall. Bend your knees and sit down into chair pose. Now this is a little bit awkward with your gaze. You might feel a little bit claustrophobic here, but we're not going to stay here long. Press your tailbone down towards the floor and keep looking straight ahead as best you can. Push your hands into the wall, lift your chest. 3, 2, 1, now come all the way up, well done, and bring your hands down by your sides. Hopefully you're feeling a little bit more open in your chest already. Come to the top of your mat, the short edge, separate your feet to hip width apart. Bring your hands down by your sides. Turn your palms out to the side walls, and as you inhale, bring your arms up overhead. As you exhale, sit back into chair pose. Now imagine that the wall is there again, but you've got your palms facing each other. Try and bring your hands a little bit higher to really strengthen your shoulders. Now fold forwards, Uttanasana, standing forward fold. Keep your fingers on the floor, raise your chest and look forward, knees bent here is fine. And as you exhale, walk back into plank pose. Be strong here in plank, strengthen the front body. Now move your body weight a little bit more forwards, bring your knees down, pick up your feet, cross your ankles, come part way down. We're also strengthening the chest as we broaden it. Squeeze your shoulder blades towards each other on your back and press them down. Draw your navel up. Then come all the way down to the floor, straighten your legs, and again come into cobra. Press your hands back so you feel like you're moving forwards in between your hands. Press your legs towards each other. Downward facing dog. Tuck your toes under, push the floor away. Now, keeping your feet apart, raise your right leg up and back for 3-legged dog. Maybe a little bit higher as you press the left buttock in. Then draw your right knee towards your nose, come onto your right fingertips, and step your right foot forward between your hands. Use your right hand to help that foot come forward as needed. Bring your back knee down, and feel free to cushion that back knee with whatever you've got. You can even double up your mat here if you need to. Now bring your hands one by one onto the top of your right leg and come up. Now I want you to have the back foot with the toenails on the floor. Press your hands down and then interlace your hands behind your back. You can keep your elbows really bent here as you press your arms towards the sides of the room or possibly a little bit straighter. And with your fingers interlaced, keep pressing your arms to the left and the right sides of the room. Then raise your chest. This is a variation of Anjaneyasana. Anjaneyasana is named after the monkey god, who has many names. Anjaneya is one of the names. So I want you to imagine here that your back foot is your monkey tail. And as you press it down, you lift your heart that little bit more. Anjaneya, or Hanuman as he's often called, worshipped Lord Ram. He had a lot of reverence for him. So lift your heart here in that sort of form of opening up to the universe, reverence for all that is. Release your hands. Bring your hands down slowly to either sides of that front foot. Tuck your toes under now, so you're going to change your monkey tail and pick up that leg. Now a really straight tail. Squeeze the leg strong, slightly round your upper back and step back again into downward facing dog. Flatten your left hand, step the right foot back. Feet apart, about hip width. Inhale your left leg up and back. You may already feel that your chest and your hips are opening here, and you want this to be done on the other side. Bring your knee towards your nose, so again cultivating some fire and strength. Step your left foot forward, bring the back knee down, point the back toes, toenails on the floor. Bring your hands onto your left leg with your fingertips pointing straight ahead so that your elbows can relax down. Squeeze your bottom. Maybe shift your hips a little bit more forward. And again, interlace your hands, this time the non-dominant clasp, a slightly awkward way, behind your back. Press your hands down and press your hands to the side walls so you really feel some engagement going on in your arms and shoulders. Raise your chest, again with that reverence, that uplifting as you push your other tail down. Squeeze your bottom, maybe lift the chin, but you can look forwards. 3, try and keep your breathing steady. 2, 1, coming out of Anjaneyasana, release your hands, bring them down to the floor, tuck your toes under. Now don't be in a rush, pick up the back knee and stay here. Then step back to downward facing dog. Put a little bend into your knees here, look forwards, and walk your feet to the top of the mat. You can jump if you prefer. Inhale, raise your chest, look up. And as you exhale, fold. Now coming up to standing, bring your arms out to the sides. Push your feet down. Come all the way up and bring your hands together here. Don't interlace your fingers. Just have your hands in Urdhva Namaskar, pressing the heels of your hands together. Then slowly bring your hands down into your heart. Then down by your side. We're going to do 2 more flows. Inhale, bring your arms out to the side walls and up. As you exhale, again, chair pose. Inhale, bring your hands and chest a little higher, sit deeper. Exhale, fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Keep your fingers on the floor. You can bend your knees if you need to. Exhale, go back into plank. So we're doing 3 variations here on sun salutations. Surya Namaskar B with a big difference. Push your hands down. Then from here, we are going to do Chaturanga Dandasana. Bring your knees down to the floor. Do this variation. Pick up your feet and cross your ankles and come down just a little way. Don't stick your bottom up. Try and keep your abdominal muscles firm. Then uncross your feet. Land your thighs in pubic bone. Curl up into cobra. Now we're going to come into upward facing dog here. Come halfway down. Perhaps slide your hands back a little bit here so that they are by the sides of your ribs. Press your monkey tails down, your feet down, and start to lift your chest, straighten your arms, and pick your pelvis and your thighs up off the floor. So an upward facing dog, only the hands and the feet are on the floor. And if you don't like this pose, come down into cobra. 3, squeeze your shoulder blades towards each other. 2, slightly lift the chin, maybe look up a little bit more. 1, and then come into downward facing dog. So you can bring your knees down, tuck your toes under, and then push back. Be strong with your abdominal muscles as you do this. Now, inhale, raise the right leg up and back. And as you exhale, step the right foot forward between your hands. Bring your back knee down. Now this time, keep the back toes tucked under. Bring your hands one by one onto your right leg. Bring your chest up. Now, I'm just going to change positions here so that you can see this. Bring your right arm out to the side. Turn your thumb down, so don't you change positions. And then bring your hand around the side waist. And you can use your left hand to help snuggle it round a bit more and press in. Keep pressing your left hand down into your right leg and raise your chest. Then reach your left arm up and then bring the back of the hand to the outside of the right thigh. Press the leg into the hand and the hand into the leg as you now start to twist. So you're twisting to your right here. Squeeze your bottom. Keep pushing your back toes down. See if you can nudge that right shoulder back a touch more. 3, 2, maybe turn the head a bit more. 1. Now release both hands, touch down to the floor, pick your back knee up again, hold your horses here. Step back to downward facing dog. Raise your left leg up and back. And as you exhale, step that left foot forward between your hands, bring your back knee down. Bring your hands one by one onto your leg. And again, I'm going to change, but you stay here. Back toes tucked under. Left leg forward, right leg back. Then from here, bring your left arm out to the side, turn the thumb down. Snuggle, snuggle, snuggle round. You can use your right hand to help the snuggle. Press your arm into the small of your back. Then reach your right arm up. And bring the back of your hand onto the outside of this leg. Possibly with the elbow straight if you can, otherwise don't worry if that elbow's bent, and then turn, turn, turn. Raise your heart. So we're doing a twist here with a back bend emphasis. So be gentle. This is something that's not something that we normally do in daily life, not usually. So be gentle and careful. And keep nudging your left shoulder back. Turn your head. Then turn your chest back to center. Release your arms slowly, bring your hands down, pick up your back knee, and go back to downward facing dog. Now, we're going to change this. I think 2 flows there is enough. Bring your knees down to the floor and come back into puppy dog pose. And hopefully you will now see that your head and your chest perhaps come a little bit lower to the floor, or at least come down with a bit more ease. So if you've got your block and you need it for your head to rest, bring it in. Press your tailbone down to lengthen the lower back. And push down through the bases of your index fingers. And then from here, raise your head. Walk your hands back so you're back into tabletop. And then from here, come into a cross-legged position with your right leg in front. Okay, so you've done a lot of back bends here. I hope you're feeling very uplifted. We're just going to do 2 forward folds as kind of counter poses to lengthen out the lower back. So walk your feet a bit away from each other. Move your toenails a bit closer to each other. And bring your hands onto your knees. If this is really awkward for you and your knees are up high, please sit on a blanket or a towel. Raise your head. Squeeze your knees. Push your feet down. Lift up. Stay like this, or bring your fingers to the floor ahead of you. Stay like this as you continue to squeeze your knees, or possibly walk your hands a little bit more forwards. Look down. And whatever you're doing, keep drawing in your lower ribs, kind of like you're wearing a corset, so your abdominal muscles engage and help support this forward fold and this lengthening of the lower back. Keep pressing your feet down. Don't worry how far you go. You just want to make this a pose where your ankles, knees, hips, and lower back get a nice lengthening that feels therapeutic and good. Breathe space into all the areas that are being lengthened. Now walk your hands back. Inhale to bring yourself up. Bring your hands onto the floor behind you and change the cross of your legs. So now the left shin is in front. Make sure there's a gap in between your groin and the back of this right calf muscle. And again, push your heels away as much as you can. If your towel has shifted, make sure that it's nicely folded. Bring your hands onto your knees and squeeze your knees. Sit tall. This might be enough for you already. Please feel free to stay like this. Or possibly, this feeling of hinging forwards. Come forward a little bit more and bring your hands down. And then maybe, you've got time. Maybe you can come forward a little bit more, but wear that corset. Squeeze the knees, push the feet down so that the foundation of the pose has lots of support. And this is to make the pose a little safer, not to make it look any prettier. Nothing is risk-free, but you want to try and minimize any pulling in the outsides of your knees and your hips here with some engagement and good alignment. Inhale, come all the way up if you're down. Bring your hands onto the floor behind you. And then I want you to lie so that you're looking down the runway of your mat. Knees bent. Bring your elbows down and your head down. And widen your feet right to the edges of the mat. If you've got a ponytail in that's annoying you, take it out. Keep your feet wide and drop both of your knees over to the right. Show the soles of your feet to the left side of the room. Now, if you want, you can just bring your hands down by your sides like you would do in Shavasana. Or, to take things further and to stretch the left side of your chest, reach your arms by the sides of your head and grab your left arm. And then move both of your hands over to the right a little bit. Try not to actually turn your belly and chest to the right. I want the back left ribs to be heavy to the floor as best you can. But maybe you can pull a little bit more the left outer shoulder. And you can even pick your head up and move it a little bit to the right here. So you're making a little bit more of a banana shape with your upper body. Okay, then from here, release that wrist. Rest the backs of your hands on the floor. Pick up your knees and drop your knees over to the left. Your feet might have moved closer to each other. Make sure that they're far apart. And then grab your right wrist. And then again, you might move your head and your shoulders a little bit more to the left as your strong left arm pulls that right arm. The right arm will be off the floor, but have it heavy, the elbow heavy down towards the floor. Slightly squeeze your knees, push your right knee and your right hip forwards, away from your head. Now release your wrist, bring your knees back up, bring your hands down by your sides. Center yourself down the mat, so your head, your middle back, your tailbone are in more or less a straight line. Lengthen your left leg long to the left corner of your mat, then your right leg. Turn your palms up. Press your elbows under to move your shoulder blades tucked under your upper back. And rest in Shavasana. You're only going to get 1 minute here, so make it a really good 1 minute. Soften your entire body and let yourself be held. Now bend your knees 1 leg at a time, bringing the soles of your feet to the floor. And roll over onto your right side and rest your head in your upper arm. Take a couple of slightly deeper breaths here. And fuel yourself up for the next event of the day. And press down with your left hand, then your right hand. Bring yourself up to sit tall. And as you sit here cross-legged, and again you can put a blanket under your bottom, bring your hands onto your legs, keep your eyes closed, and bring your hands into heart center, into Anjali Mudra. And as you sit here for a few more moments, keep your mind very much within yourself and notice how you feel. Perhaps compare how you feel to how you felt half an hour ago. And hopefully you'll notice the effects of the yoga poses that you just did, strengthening your back, opening your heart, opening your chest. Now lower your chin, bring your hands down onto your legs, gently press down, lift your chin and open your eyes. Namaste. Thank you for joining us today. If you would like to support this channel or just buy me a cup of coffee, have a look at the class description below where there are a couple of links there for you to support me. And I would love to know how this class went. So if you can't support me, no problem at all. If you've got any comments or questions, please do put them in the comments box below. And I always answer them and I always read them. Take care.